On January 23rd, wife and I mutually decided to do a dissolution. Here's a brief history of events. In Jan, we were waiting for "I got home safely" text from our babysitter, who was driving home in the snow. A message popped up on W's phone, but it was from a man whose name I didn't recognize. Looking through the history briefly, it was a work client. They had been flirting back and forth for months. She apologized and said it would stop immediately. The day after, she claimed she talked with him and they agreed to keep things professional only. In March, daughter was playing with wife's phone. I took it from her and found more chats with this man, including a flat-out physical one akin to "I want you have fun with me." When I confronted, I demanded no contact with this man and marriage counseling. It was made clear if this continued, our marriage would not. In the several months afterward, W was overall unsupportive and did little to rebuild my trust. She repeatedly expressed that her affair was my fault and wouldn't have happened if I met her needs. I maintained that while I made mistakes, I was in no way responsible for her stepping outside of the marriage. I was accused of having a victim mentality and not moving on. Her lack of remorse was a great point of conflict. At times when I was triggered, sad and in pain, her first reaction was always defensiveness, not support. Just before Thanksgiving, while W was putting D2 to bed, she received a text. Since her phone was on the coffee table 2 feet in front of me, I glanced down and noticed it was from him, inviting her to use a chat app, Cyberdust, that deletes messages 30 seconds after they are read. She said that came out of the blue, and she had done nothing to instigate it. At our marriage counseling session following, she said she simply deleted it and did nothing. I felt more had to be done, so I contacted other man myself and told him to stay away from W. I told her afterward, and she was enraged. Rather than be concerned about my feelings or our marriage, she was worried about work. She didn't want him to talk with other contractors and give her company a bad reputation. Later on, I found that the very night she received that invite, she forwarded it to her work and personal email addresses and deleted it from her sent items in an attempt to hide that from me. I also found that she created an account within the app. She clearly lied to me and our therapist about deleting the message. I confronted her about this, asked if she had talked with him, even though I already knew the answer. Again, she lied and said no. Later in the conversation, she revealed that she had emailed him for an explanation, clearly breaking the terms of no contact. When I called her on these lies, I was called a psychotic, insecure piece of crap before she stormed out. Through the holidays to the present, she had been extremely distant and unwilling to work with me. She did not want to go to marriage counseling anymore, saying that it only made her depressed and didn't help. In late dec, I sat her down and told her she needed to get her head out of her back and work on things, or I wouldn't be around much longer. She became even more distant after that, essentially ignoring my presence. I reached a point where I couldn't take it anymore and needed to see improvement. On 1/23rd, I sat her down and gave her 2 options as an ultimatum. A. Work with me. I must see a positive effort to improve. No more distancing. I will no longer live like your roommate. B. Divorce. I had the completed paperwork in my hand. After a very long talk filled with deny, attack, reverse victim and offender from her, we decided to split. I recorded the conversation without her knowing, as I wanted to be protected in case she did something BSC. And yes, I did run that by my lawyer first. I'm in a one-party consent state. While it didn't turn truly BSC, it turned out to be helpful for other reasons. When I felt sad, in denial, or questioned my decision, I could go back and be reminded of gems like these. You deserve someone's standards not as high as mine. I had an emotional dalliance. It was not an affair. There was nothing remotely affectionate. After me saying, except for the come have fun part, she started hitting the couch screaming, "You are blowing this out of ducking proportion. I'm not the insecure person at 37 that I was at 23. I don't need the things then that I need now. I need different things. So much for commitment, I guess." I didn't lie about Cyberdust. I freaked out then told the truth later. Yeah, after you realized you were caught red-handed. My absolute favorite is too wordy to quote in entirety. Basically, I'm an introverted person. She has known that from the beginning, but apparently married me thinking she could change me into a schmoozing socialite. While I'm much more social than I used to be, I can't and won't change. Map for the MMSL fans. Core character traits. She said she invested so much into me and hasn't seen enough in return. Well, trying to change who I am was your first mistake. After several days of processing that conversation, I felt an overall relief. All the trying, the wondering, lack of remorse is all explained. She just doesn't love me enough to care. It wasn't something I was doing. It's not my fault. I no longer have to dump extreme amounts of energy into something that won't be fixed. I don't have to cater or walk on eggshells. I don't beat myself up wondering what I'm doing wrong. I am happy with the way I handled things. Even in the ultimatum talk, I never lied, never called names. I was honorable. She was not. Last night I started reading a book about how to break the news to our children. It made me imagine the hurt in them. It stirred up anger all over again that I'm trying to work through. My individual therapist got me into journaling, which is very helpful for me. Here's what I wrote last night. something I'd love to say to the W. I hope when you see the pain in daughter, that you think about what a cheating, lying, frigid, unsympathetic B you are. And perhaps realize that yes, your affair was a huge deal and I'm not blowing it out of proportion. Your complete inability to be a loving spouse is the cause of her pain. I hate you more than words can express. You chose to cheat instead of fixing the issues or leaving. Issues that were around in your mind since before their birth. You were a selfish coward, and your choices have ruined the lives of 2 innocent girls. I hope you die and go to hell. Obviously, that wouldn't help anyone though. I still have to co-parent with this person. I have a quote on my desk that I have to keep staring at to keep myself in check. Holding on to anger is like drinking X and expecting the other person to be gone. Her complete inability to see what she did wrong, how it affected and ruined our family. Right now, we are generally agreeing on dissolution terms, friendly, non-conflict, terms decided in advance. As much as I hate this woman for what she did to me, sole, primary custody would only hurt my girls. She is a great mom, and we are going with a shared parenting plan and 50/50 time wise. STD, yes, got tested. OM's wife, this is one of my regrets, that I didn't. Right now, I'm minimizing conflict in order to get the dissolution process done ASAP. My other regret is not blowing up the affair to her family. I myself underestimated the nature of Ania in the beginning. Knowing what I know now, I would have taken out a billboard to broadcast it. I have talked with a couple people in her family, though not her parents yet. My wife is selling it as a little flirting months ago, and he just can't get over it. She conveniently skips that it went on for months, that she showed no remorse or support. The dirty nature of some texts, and the entirety of the recontact in Nav. I'm torn between silence now in the interest of an amicable dissolution, and the anger-fueled satisfaction of broadcasting that she's a lying cheater. As bad as things are, the kids have no clue at this point. We have never even argued or done anything in front of them. As I said above, she is an excellent mother, just useless as a wife. How do you get over it? Just a matter of time and mindset. I can forgive her for what she's done to me. But our daughters, they are totally innocent here. 1 year later, it's been almost a year since the discovery of my wife's 4+ month-long EA, which included commentary such as "come have fun with me." Toward the end, from the beginning, she has had a nearly complete lack of remorse. I always got to hear that it was just a little flirting, not a big deal. You should be over it by now. It wouldn't have happened if you met my needs, etc. Blame shifting, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, and complete lack of responsibility. Personally, I think it would have been easier to deal with if she had a one-night stand. If she had been gone in a freak accident, leaving me to raise our 2- and 6-year-old daughters alone, I think there would have been less grief. I'm in the beginning stages of divorce finally. The final straw happened when piece of crap OM attempted recontact after 8 months, via an invite to a texting app, which I saw when she was putting D2 to bed. Long story short, she lied to me and our marriage counselor several times. She had installed the app, took measures to hide it from me, and flat out lied even after being confronted with hard evidence. I can accept all this. What I'm struggling with in the present, when I tell people, family mostly, why I would choose to divorce her and break up the family of D2D6. They don't always understand the impact of an E. It's maddening. STBXW will go to the grave thinking it wasn't a big deal. She seems to have her family convinced as well. She tells her friends that she flirted with some guy ages ago and I never got over it, then gets lots of sympathy. She paints my grief and seeking of reassurance as controlling behaviors. It's maddening. I hate her for what she did to our family, yet I seem to be the one being judged for having the self-esteem worth to not put up with this behavior. Accepting the divorce is one thing, but the injustice of it bothers me more than anything. What can I do? We both have lawyers retained at this point and are amicable enough to do a dissolution. We have already agreed on 50/50 custody and shared parenting. Financially, she makes about 10% more than me, so if it went to war, I'd still be ahead. I've already talked with her parents and a few cousins, telling them the truth about her cheating. Seems if I talk to someone first, they are all "oh my god," but if she hit them first, I get the "well, she didn't sleep with him" lines. Honestly, I'm not sure she did or didn't. I'll never know. The pattern is she denies everything unless there is hard evidence that would win a jury trial. I have to deal with the hate, anger, injustice of not being understood. I'm also trying to balance resolving this quickly and amicably with the urge to take out a billboard on the highway exposing her. She doesn't give a crap about me. She is an awesome mother to the kids though. The kids are the only ones losing. I keep trying to remind myself that as painful the crazy is right now, she won't be around much longer. Freedom will be back. The days of wondering why she doesn't seem affectionate or seem to love me, which has been for years, will end. It's sickening the way she is acting in the interim though. Sometimes people repeat something untrue enough that they make you question yourself and your own sanity. I got into a habit of checking her phone messages during the attempted reconcile period. I still do now after the divorce decision, mostly to find the crazy things she's telling friends and family. I really need to let go and stop it. The things I see, like tonight, make me downright furious. I'm wasting my energy. I really need to let it go. There's this part of me that just wants to shake people and get them to understand, but they never will. As frustrating as it is, I need to let go. For instance, on Sun, I was reading a Kindle book about how to tell your children about divorce. It made me emotional and teary. Thinking about your frigid, cheating, lying screwing over your kids will do that to you. W texted a friend that I was being unstable. Friend replies that I'm attention-seeking, and if I'm having a breakdown, she should call a doctor and get me to the hospital. This problem of his started long before the marriage. With the duck, I should also mention that this friend is twice divorced, and obviously cheering her on. Additionally, she was texting back and forth with a second friend, telling friend about how I talked with her family. One cousin I talked to and got the what the duck reaction flipped and sent my W flowers to apologize. I get it, that would suck to be stuck in the middle. W says, I've just realized he's unable to be a man about this and it confirms why I have felt unsatisfied for so long. He's being an idiot. You tried everything. He has done nothing. He's not thinking of his kids. That one really bugs me. W claims that the final blow was me claiming she wasn't being supportive and being there for me. Well, yes, that and you ducking lying about recontacting him to both me and our marriage counselor. Comments. First thing you have to do is stop worrying about what other people say and you have to stop playing the victim around her because that gives her more ammo. When my first wife and I got divorced and it was ugly, she said some really horrible ugly things about me for the sole purpose just to inflict pain, and her family bought every word like it was gospel truth along with mutual friends we had. Couple of times when I ran into her family members I never once took a step back because it just made me look guilty and make her lies more believable. Well, after a while the truth started coming out and little by little people started seeing that they made a mistake. The best part was when I ran into her family after the truth came out and my ex-mother-in-law said in a cheerful voice, "We were just talking about you," and I looked at them all and pasted a huge grin on my face and said, "Yeah, I'll bet you were," and you could hear a pin drop in that room. No one person could look me in the eye and I got my satisfaction, so let them talk and make remarks and sooner or later it will come back and bite them. Then you have the upper hand. I have just one point to make. You state in one of your posts that your wife is an awesome mother. Any mother that would cheat and break up a family, forcing the kids into two separate homes, and all the misery that comes with divorce, is not an awesome anything, and certainly not an awesome mother. She is actually nothing more than a home wrecker. Most certainly not a good mother. OP responds, Sun night I ran into one of W's cousins and told her over a few drinks. Cousin, after hearing my story, texts my W, chewing her out, saying how could you possibly make him out to be the bad guy. W and I ended up talking about it last night. Why? Because I'm an idiot and couldn't help myself. I had to tell her that it was great to see even people in her own family realize how much she had hurt me, when she clearly can't. We sparred for a half hour or so. I did get something helpful out of it though. In her mind, it wasn't even an emotional affair. She won't call it an E. Further maddening is that last night she says both her individual counselor and the marriage counselor both said when you look at it, it doesn't really classify as an EA. No, oh my God, she truly has convinced herself that it was nothing, that I shouldn't be upset about it. I'm just blown away. How do you argue with crazy? You can't. In her mind, I'm the evil one because I retained a lawyer first. I did because I have self-respect and limits. For the good mother comments, I totally get the point. Sadly, I do have to be semi-nice to her at this point until everything is signed. Don't want her to flip out and do something stupid like try to do less than shared parenting and equal time. I am from out of town and married into a huge family in this town. With the 2 kids, I'm stuck here for a minimum of 16 years. I want my kids to grow up knowing that family well, because they are great people. So unfortunately, on some level, people knowing the truth does matter. I have to accept all those people thinking her side is truth. One thing I didn't mention here, but that is huge. I went through a big lifestyle change and lost 67 pounds. Once I was around 50 down, the affair started. I really think it was an attention, validation thing for her. And that really bugs me, because I've always been attracted to her regardless of her size. Well, until now. It's amazing what taking the wife, love goggles off will do. I just now realize the true wisdom of this response. It's true. She'll do whatever she thinks she can get away with without getting caught. Oh, you got caught. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. In Nav, when POSOM sent her the invite to install the text app, I really wish I didn't confront her right away. I wish I had waited, seen if she would have told me on her own, or simply just installed it and used it as she did. It's very hard in that scenario to not confront right away. But sometimes it is to your advantage. Hopefully someone here learns from that. Story 2. I am a male, age 43, my wife is 42, we have 2 kids. One is 23, the other 19. This year we will have been married 24 years. We have been to MC 4 to 5 times for various reasons. Some of them revolved around help with the kids, communication, etc., but none really helped. The therapy sessions each would begin with her emphatically stating, "We have a problem," and I would find someone to help sort it out. About 10 years ago her desires crashed. Once every 2 to 3 months was the norm. I would complain, ask that we get help, and would ultimately be shot down. She could fix it. This cycle ran for all these past years, but I was wrapped up helping the kids with their school, coaching and whatnot. I took up working out to relieve stress, 2 hours a day. This helped for a while, but the same arguments arose. As the years went by, I started feeling more and more rejected. I was in good shape, great job, kids well, did the majority of the chores around the house, dishes, clothes, house maintenance. I would bring the physical issue up, with the result being more and more tension between us. I lost my job Feb and just landed a new job October. During the summer in between interviews, I would mountain bike, box, workout, run, whatever was needed to help maintain sanity. I would ask for her to join along but was again shot down. I went to catch concerts. Again, zero interest in joining in. Frustration turned into resentment by me and grew into anger. I threw out an ultimatum: please get help with our physical life or I am gone. She reluctantly is seeing a therapist with little to no improvement. She feels open to discuss bonding, and that is what she feels is a major improvement. I have shared with her that I want intimacy, attention, bonding, no particular order, guess it depends on the day. I gave up on adult materials, no connection there. That is what I crave, emotional connection, something to show that we have some type of bond. It can hopefully grow from there. A friend's wife disclosed her lust for me over the summer, and I am really struggling not to give in to temptation. I teetered on the edge of an emotional affair, but I mentioned to her this was not a path I wanted to venture down. The door is always open with this woman. This has been made very clear. I researched Adult Friend Finder a few years back, but that was not a road I was comfortable with. One of my friends suggested I have a torrid affair with the woman filled with lust, but I just don't feel right about sneaking around. I am tired of being passed over, having Farmville or Facebook taking priority over me. I would like someone to say goodbye in the morning before I leave for work, give me nice heartfelt kiss to have something to look forward to later. Send me little messages throughout the day. I try and message but get nothing back. I call to check in and she is either too busy to pick up or didn't hear it. I am tired of kisses you would give to your grandma. In Feb, my business was sold from behind me back. I had owned only 10%. At the time I felt like a complete failure. Add this to the occurring rejection from my wife and it all added up to the point where I saw a therapist for a little while. She gave me the affirmations I was seeking and helped build me up. I am clearly stronger and more focused. That's how I was able to get my needs across. An affair is simple, non-committal, and little to no connection beyond just getting physical. It is important to me, but an overall strong bond I feel will lead to what I ultimately need. The only way I would consider sleeping with another woman is if I were to file for divorce. I worry about the reaction from my kids, albeit they are grown and on their own. Perhaps I would consider a divorce, yet again another failure. This I need to ponder a bit more. Touch. Yes, I agree. There are times I am in the living room and she is so entranced by Facebook or whatnot that she will not reply to my suggestions to just come and spend some time with me. We don't even have to talk, just come and snuggle up, make a comment about my cologne or something, make me feel noticed. I think I have addictive personality traits. By this I mean, if I get into something I do it full out. Working out, mountain biking. I collected concert posters for a while until I realized I didn't have the wall space to support my weirdness. I found a small line of artisan scents, tried to get as many as I could, then thinned down the bottle herd to what I enjoyed. Recently I decided to rid myself of excess, feeling that just having stuff was pointless if it was not being enjoyed. My boxes of books I had, a Whopper CD collection that was on my iPod anyway, was sold and I gave the cash to my kids. This flipped my wife out considerably. Anyway, if I were to hook up with someone who showed even the slightest bit of romantic interest, I would go in full throttle. It is what has been missing and quite frankly I crave it. Facebook, nothing going on there. I have her password and I note nothing out of the ordinary. She is not very computer literate and it looks like her messages have never been deleted. Her phone is locked up tight with a word now that I figured out the swipe pattern. I can access phone records to see what is going on. I had a short talk with her this morning asking where this is all going. Lack of communication, zero intimacy, passion, bonding, desire. And she did not have answer and tried to throw it all back on me. This is a normal response by her and I need to remind her of what I do for her. Then she replies, "Oh yeah, at age 43, wait, 44 now, this simply cannot be it. There must be marriages where romance and desire are alive and flourishing." After reading over comments here, I am torn between living as best friends or walking out the door in search of someone who better fits me needs. She has commented on several occasions that I am either high maintenance or obsessive. I don't want the best friend scenario. She is aware of this. I also am aware I cannot change her by simply wishing or forcing her to see a therapist. She needs to want to change as well. A friend of mine, who happens to be a woman, keeps telling me not to have an affair as she did and feels it ruined her entire life. She keeps checking in on me saying, "Don't do it," which while odd I find it comforting. I am meeting with male friend this evening as I mentioned wanting to stray. He did a few years back and insists he can keep me from going off the rails. In the meantime, I have been invited to a concert in Chicago City with a group of people. One of which is a woman who finds me the most interesting male on the planet. I know where this could potentially lead to. It is a very difficult decision I have in front of me this very moment. I feel the extremely confused, frustrated, hurt, anger about this entire thing. If my wife would show the slightest interest in me, I would not be in this position. Give me a sign that something is there. The relationship with my son is rocky at best. At age 23 he lives with a girlfriend who takes care of everything. He has no job and he plays PS4 all day. Ask him about current events and he is lost. Modern warfare. He could talk for hours. My daughter 19 is off at college. We speak a few times throughout the day. It is her first year away and she oftentimes looks for reassurance. I usually just ask her what her thoughts are and let her choose what is best. She had a boyfriend for 2 years but is now single and enjoying meeting new people. My wife is a special needs aide in a public school. There is a large variety of problems with these kids, far too many to list. Some behavioral, other physical. She has been doing this for 12 years now. She refuses my initiations to the point where I gave up. A common theme I read here. She was either tired, headache, felt out of shape, wrapped up in Facebook or Farmville. So many reasons I could hardly mention them all. Before it was the kids were in the house and she didn't want them to hear. As the kids aged and went out more, still no desire for it even when I suggested the house was free. One might suggest her being unhappy with body image but I told her I didn't care. Rock what you have. Bring your game and I will be happy. I asked if she was with another person but this was quickly shot down. I told her it didn't matter, if she would be happier with someone that didn't require attention or desire. That might be the way to go. She will not slow me the slightest bit of interest but if another woman so many glances at me for too long she flips out. In therapy she mentioned never wanting to be out of control. There may be issues there at play. I am not a therapist so I don't know. She does like to micromanage and I am all about not micromanaging. At times during the past 10 to 12 years while driving past a shop I would suggest picking up something fun and I would be quickly rebuked. I said, it was just an idea, no need to get upset. I stopped making this particular suggestion quite some time ago. In years past I would peruse Victoria's Secret catalogs, run to the store to get her gift cards and circle various items with question marks by them. I would not center around underpinnings and such but other outfits as well. Jeans, tops, skirts, boots, etc. After none of them were used I stopped this as well. For all I know there may be about $300 worth of VS gift cards in her drawer. As expected, discussion about bonding lead to argument of which I am tired of having. Same old things bantered about. I went different direction this time, refused to argue or yell. At the end I said, intimacy, desire are loving acts not to be argued about. I refused to yell. At that point I said if she was open to discuss rationally, I was good to go. If not, let's try talking about something else. She stood there in stunned silence not knowing what to do next. Breaking the silence, I stated I refuse to continue to attend MC if there is no improvement. We have been going for 9 months. She nodded her head saying, good luck finding someone who will find your needs. I give you my blessing to start looking. What the duck is this? I started researching divorce laws in this state, found some info. Looks like I can handle most of the filing by myself. For 10 years I asked for her to seek help regarding a lack of a bedroom life between us. 10 ducking years. Frustration, anger, resentment, jealousy. My emotions ran the gamut. I see people walking hand in hand and think, yeah, that's what I want. I gave up holding grudges many months ago. Seemed silly to hold on them. I cleaned all of the extra crap I had over the past few months. If I hadn't touched it, I gave it away or sold it and split the cash with my kids. My wife found this beyond crazy. Any of my friends of Facebook who I actually had no contact with were thinned from the herd. After a while I contacted them all individually suggesting actually having dinner, drinks or chats in person, gave them my number and deleted the account. I got calls asking if everything was okay and while it was with me, the relationship with my wife was deteriorating. I would drop a few hints here and there that I would like things to improve, suggestions of evenings, dates, all to be shot down. I asked if she was bored. Maybe there is someone else who may rock her world, but the reply was always, when I had no job this summer, I was able to focus on just myself throughout the day. I would get up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym, get home in time to see her off to work, send out resumes, lunch was mountain biking, back home for resumes and dinner cooking, out to box and home to try and connect with her. She has a million hours of soap operas, so if not intently watching that, she's on Farmville doing whatever that is. I am clearly more driven and focused than ever before. Whatever I pushed to the side in terms of things I found irritating I now make known. I know through therapy my wife does not find change a good thing and needs to micromanage. I am tired of talking about feelings. I can talk about that crap all night, but unless there is actual change, this is all going nowhere. Over the years there has been plenty of women who come up to say hi. We chat a bit and I tell them I am married. Sometimes they would reply, "Nobody needs to know." But I stayed the course and did not stray. This past weekend I was offered to head to Chicago, meet a woman there in her suite she had picked up with a friend. She had an extra concert ticket. I just had to show up. I stayed home, tried to have dinner with my wife where I asked to please show some type of affection, but it all ended in an argument. I feel like a moron on both fronts, one for passing up a sure thing. Yeah, I get the good guy, work on your marriage award for the week. Super. But I also get the dumb thinking things may actually improve award. 2. A common excuse for years of unfulfillment was, the kids might hear. Okay, sleepovers, nothing, hotel stays mean nothing, quick fun while kids at after-school activity. Nope, the house is empty, it's my period. I suggest that I am not thrown by that in the least. Let's roll. Disgusted eye roll as result. I think she feels getting the marriage back on track is talking about feelings with a therapist for an hour once every 2 weeks. Effort beyond that may be too much. She is the type who sleeps until noon on the weekends where I am out doing things. I actually have to walk on eggshells to avoid excess noise not to wake her. I usually just set out my workout clothes in the morning, slide them on and head out. In the morning on a normal workday, I go about my business without much concern as to if I wake her up or not. I had suggested early morning conversation would be nice. It was attempted once since then. She waited until 15 minutes before I walked out the door, plopped herself down on a chair and said, "I'm here." Now what? I asked her last night where we go from here, reiterated what I am in need of, and in return asked if her needs are not met. She should let me know what I could work on. I got one answer for both questions. I don't know. I let her know she could take whatever time she felt necessary to figure out an answer, but I was not waiting a year for a reply. Half a year later, I continue to be stuck in this ducking rut. I made contact with a few friends on FB, some female, and we go to see concerts, have lunch, or just visit. With the women I tell them that our relationships are friendship-based, not physical. I am aware of emotional affairs and do not want it to progress. All of my friends suggest leaving my wife. I have researched but have yet to pull the trigger. We continue in therapy, but this is going nowhere. This past week she chimed in knowing about all the affairs I am having with ladies and demanded all contact with women cease immediately. It makes no difference if I explain what is discussed, where I will be and with whom. I even invite her along. I thought I would go along with this game and said, okay, all contact with women ends immediately. I am not angry. Let's see how we progress. To date, zero improvement with intimacy or attention. Last evening, after suggesting a happy ending after a back rub, I was shot down. Again. I asked why and was told, "You do not realize the emotional roller coaster you put me on over the last few months talking with other women." I questioned that in the past 10 years I have dealt with. All men are pigs. I am not happy with myself. She refuses to elaborate. I'm just not into getting physical. Why can't we just hang out? You put me on roller coaster ride. All excuses over this time period. I ask about the crap I have had to deal with, this lack of affection, and she shrugs. Frustration is an understatement. My daughter is now home from college, so add that list of reasons for no physical activity. I am losing all emotional connection with my wife. My comment: any one of you struggle with your marriage? If this wife is not having an affair, I think she is missing an emotional connection with this man. Let me know what you think down below, and I will come back with the second story for today.